Introducing Minor Wisdom Quintet.
1, 2, a skidda-didda-doo.
Minor Wisdom.
This week I've got Glenn Price on. Glenn Price is somebody that I guess this goes for most people. I've wanted to get Glenn on for a while. And he works also with Katie Davis. Katie Davis is somebody I went to school with at the University of Houston. Go Cougs! Whose house? Anyway, he works at University High School in Wacky Waco. No offense to Waco, but that's just what we called it when I was a teenager. So it stuck with me, but it's not politically correct, I guess. Anyway, but Glenn came on, was gracious to come on, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. As with most guests, he, of course, us modest theater teachers start off thinking, who wants to listen to me? But, Glenn, he opened up practically immediately, and we ended up having a really great conversation. He even flipped the script and asked me a question. How dare he do that? But it was a lot of fun. I had a great time interviewing him and talking to him and just getting to know him better. I have known Glenn for not a long time, but I've known who he is for a while now because of my relationship with Miss Destiny Miller and Mr. Philip Taylor, soon to be a doctor. But those two people are instrumental in my life, and so Glenn just kind of, by proxy, became sort of a friend to me as well through those people. So I was glad I got to know him a little better. Now I can call him friend. Hope everybody enjoyed their Texas thespian experience. It is now officially over. Thank you to BK Goodman for getting this all together. And also thanks to BK, we at my school had the opportunity to purchase a bunch of lights, and I'm not trying to push bats on anybody. I don't get paid by bats, and I'll talk about Techland in a second, but BK really quickly turned things around down here in Houston, because now Bats is selling down here in Houston as well. And so we are going to be the proud owners of some new LED lights at my school, and I'm super excited about it because that's all I know. The other thing about the lights at my school is we had a church there. This is, totally off topic, but we had a church that was in the space, and they were really gracious, very, very nice. They had purchased something like 16 moving LEDs at least, maybe even closer to 20. They purchased a massive LED screen, 20 feet by 20 feet, which I know is not massive in the concert world, but for a high school stage, it's massive. And they also purchased a CAMSYS board, light board, and they left. They left the school. They had to, because our district is not allowing outside people to rent. That's fine. It's not a knock, but they left and they went to another district, and they took everything but the CAMSYS, and I was really upset about that because I've never, ever worked on a CAMSYS board. And if you've ever worked on a board made over the pond in England or anywhere else, you know how bass-ackwards things are on those boards. And luckily, I have now learned how to operate a CAMSYS. I also know how to work a 088 board, which was a long time ago. Thank you, Nick Phillips. If you're ever in a pinch and need to know how to work an English board, give me a call, give me an email, shoot me a text, whatever it is. Get a hold of me. I'll do my best to help you out. The other thing I wanted to mention, this is not as lighthearted, but I want you to maybe check out Facebook and GoFundMe for Eric Campbell. Eric Campbell is the general manager of Techland Houston, of course, down here in Houston, and I hope he doesn't mind me talking about it, but it is on social media. But he unfortunately lost his house this past week in a fire, and I saw it on the news, didn't know it was his, but he lost everything. So if you get the chance, Eric is a great friend to high school theater in Houston and probably even outside of Houston as well. But if you get the chance to help him out and go onto his GoFundMe, please do so. I know that he would really appreciate it. And I know a lot of people reached out to him to show their support, and he is getting back to those people as quickly as possible just to let them know that he appreciates it. He did with me, and I'm sure he's doing it with other people as well. So if you can help out Eric Campbell, please do so. He's also a friend of the podcast. He's been on the podcast before and has talked to me about ideas he's had for it. So I really appreciate Eric, and I know those people that have worked with Eric appreciate him as well, and his company Techland. So there's a shout out for both Techland and Bats. They are competitors, but they are both doing good business and could use, in different ways, use our help. So I appreciate you considering that. Again, this week, Mr. Glenn Price. I'm not going to keep on talking. I hope you guys enjoy this very fun interview conversation that I had with him. Take care.
Hello, my name is Glenn Price. I am currently the theater director at University High School in Waco. And let's see, how did I get here? My mom and dad met and conceived me probably after a drunken night at Valentine's Day, because I was born on Halloween. So
timeline fits, yeah.
Which times are hard. Because Halloween is a great holiday if you're little, because you get candy all the time. But as an adult, you get like the leftovers that nobody wants, like the peanut butter,
Right.
the black and orange candy that no one likes, or the candy corn. I hate candy corn with passion. So anyway, so that happened. And then life happened, and I ended up in Gatesville in high school. And I met Carla Donaldson, who approached me and said, "Hey, you ever been to a play?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Well, you look like you would be great in a play." And that's where I met Destiny Miller and Philip Taylor. Destiny Miller was actually a year older than me. And I am older than Philip by 2 weeks. So that's interesting.
Yeah, don't give away his age. He's very protective of his age.
I know, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it because he called me old earlier, so that's fine.
He did. He sure did.
So, no, and we're best friends. So it's,
yeah. Yeah.
So, we got some dirt on him. Anyway, I'm not going to say it though, because he would kill me. Anyway, and so I actually met Tal Estraco through Carla, and went to TVCC for 2.5 years, and then he had passed, and he had told me through, like, he was a guider, so he would guide your career, say you should do this and you should do this. And so I remember him saying you should be a dancer. I was like, I don't want to be a dancer. I want to do theater because that's why I came here. But after he passed, I was like, you know what? Let me go try dance. So I went to Texas State and majored in dance, and then realized that I'm a big person and I like to eat, and I don't want to be a struggling artist. And so Carla convinced me to do theater. And so I became a theater teacher, and I have loved it ever since. So that's how I got here.
Yeah. So, and have you only been at university?
I've only been at university.
Okay. When you were at Taos Camp, you were there as a student. I'm just clarifying for my own.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was at Taos Camp. I did that 2 years because I think there was 3 years at Trinity Valley. But I actually attended Trinity Valley under him. So I was his last teaching class.
Okay. Did you go back on your own, or were you encouraged to go back for that second year?
You mean after he passed?
No, like, because you went for 2 years, right? So, was the second year that he had already passed?
Yeah. So the first,
okay, I got you.
Yeah, he passed in the first year.
I got you.
And I went back the second year. I actually went back for 1.5 years.
Okay.
Because I actually, the magnitude of him and just his presence. I mean, I'll say it, and a lot of people won't, but if you were part of that group, you were just lost because, I mean, his guidance was gone.
Right.
And so I actually stopped doing theater and went to band because I did Color Guard in high school.
Okay.
And I did band and got scholarships. And that's really where I probably honed my love of dance. Because I had done dance a little bit here and there, but like I had never had real training, and that was probably the first time someone looked at me and said, "Hey, you need to learn some technique and do this type of thing." So, but yeah, I with him gone, it definitely changed a lot of our outlooks on life and what that looked like.
Sure.
So
What does your color guard experience, has that helped you in the discipline world of theater? Like, has that changed how you probably go about directing a show or even,
oh yeah.
yeah,
So I look at every show like a dance. I have never had formal um directorial training.
okay,
So all of my stuff is from composition and
yeah,
dance technique. So but I I love to coach acting through movement and how the body reads, because the body does not lie.
right,
If it's in pain, it's in pain. And so if it is happy, it's happy. So I don't really subscribe to these method acting and let's do that type of thing. I want to really control the body and the way it feels, because by you really feeling the body through movement, it's authentic
yeah,
and it's real and it's honest.
yeah,
And so that's how I coach my acting. And then I'm a minimalist, so you will very rarely see a play that I do that have a lot of set, because I love movement on stage.
right.
I mean, no one sits down for a long time without fidgeting or something. So that's how I approach theater.
Did it take some time for your students to buy into your kind of philosophy and technique?
No, honestly, because when I got there, it had pretty much been, I don't want to say destroyed. That's a really harsh. It had dilapidated.
Sure.
Kendra Willoughby was there before I was, and there was a person, and she had built it up, and there was a person in between us, and within that year, everything that she built had left.
Right.
And so these kids were so hungry for something, and so like wanting to learn something, that it was easy to kind of give them something to latch onto because they were hungry. My first play that I did, or my first one act, I will say, my first play was a monologue show, because I don't know how to read these kids, so let's give them monologues. Guess they can act.
Yeah.
Oh, you can act. Oh, you cannot. So you stay over here. But my first one act I did a play called "And Flights of Angels," and it's a retelling of Hamlet through Horatio's eyes. He hires the dumb show to tell the whole story of Hamlet.
Yeah.
And I did that with all umbrellas. I did not know at the time that that had already been done, but I was like, okay, this sounds cool. So I did it. And for us at that time, we had no budget. I spent like $300 of my own money to buy these umbrellas from Walmart, because that's what you got
Yeah.
in Waco. And I said, all right, y'all get some white tops, some black pants, and we're going to do this damn show. And we did. And that was the proudest moment, because you couldn't tell them anything. They knew that story, and they're like, people were like, you're going to do Shakespeare with university kids?
Right.
And I did not know no better. So here's another thing. Being in Waco, especially from Gatesville, I only knew that university existed because it was off of I-35. I did not know that Waco High existed, and I did not know that Midway existed because I never saw the high schools.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know who these are. So it was an interesting thing, but I mean, it is what it is.
What is it about Waco that's keeping you? Is there anything? Is it the soft water?
Currently, there's nothing keeping me.
Sure.
So I'm actually in a time of transition. My husband is going to change jobs,
Right.
and we are actually possibly in the process of me leaving. My kids don't know yet.
Okay.
But
Do you want me to do you want me to keep this in?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
always a possibility.
Okay.
And here's, I guess, the thing with me is, I believe that people are transitional and they need change.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I've been ready to go, but I've been wanting change probably the past 3 years.
Sure.
And it's not because I'm ready to leave, but it's I like to accomplish a lot. And I think for university, I have accomplished all that I can to a point.
Right.
Um,
New challenges. Yeah.
New challenges, and I think it's time for someone else to come make their mark.
Right.
So
yeah, no, I mean that's something to be commendable. When I left my job with Straight No Chaser, which was like a dream job, I was told by the tour manager it takes cojones to to know when it's time. So because some people they hold on too long, and then like you said, things start to get dilapidated, as you said. So yeah, good for you. But it now with the Gatesville thing, because Gatesville is 3A. What was? Do you remember what it was when you were there?
They were 3A, so they're 4A now.
They're
But
4A
were
now.
3A at the time, yeah.
Did that time at Gatesville and sort of you being not necessarily forced into theater, but pretty much recommend, someone coming to you and saying you should probably do this because you're going to be good, was that the most instrumental time in your life? Is that the most life-changing experience that you had?
It was, but not for the department.
Okay.
So Carla, and I'm gonna say, if you can ever get her on, I would get her on.
Get her on, yeah.
She is an incredible woman. So a little background about that. She became my mom.
Yeah.
And in 2005, my grandmother left me. I lived with my grandmother at the time, and she was the only person that I lived with. She left me to go take care of my mom in East Texas, and she, for lack of a better word, abandoned me. But it was really, she felt that I was the honor roll kid in school. I held a job, and I was so involved in theater and band and choir and student council that I was never home. And so she was saying, I don't want to rip you from this, so you'll just finish here by yourself.
Right.
But on the opposite end, I was a 18-year-old boy who had, never had to commit to anything besides what I wanted to commit to. And all of a sudden, within 5 seconds of a phone call, I'm being forced to now not only pay bills, but, understand how the world works.
Right.
And I remember calling Carla, and I'm broken. And I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to make it. And I'm like hard crying. And that woman came over and picked me up and drove me to work and said, you'll be fine. And she got with people all over the community in Gatesville, and they were able to pay my bills and help me, pay rent and do all the other stuff, to where I was still able to succeed as a student, but also learn to be an adult quickly.
Sure.
She bought me my first computer for college. She bought me my cell phone and paid for a cell phone. And Tal took my cell phone up because I would text and call and run up her bill, and she's like, take that shit up. So
that's funny.
So that would happen. She drove me, back and forth to TVCC as well as Texas State, and she helped me get the job at university. And to disappoint her is the hardest thing to do, because she has such high expectations for me.
Right.
And this is a woman who does not talk about herself. This is a woman who does not ask for anything. She is the quintessential example of what a teacher can be in someone's life.
Right.
And I wanted to come back after she left Gatesville and take over the program. And she's like, no, you're where you're supposed to be, because you're doing exactly what I did for you at university. And so that's the impact that theater has made. She, as a theater director and as a teacher, as a woman, kind of helped mold me and to show me how powerful one act play and theater can be.
Right.
So
how do you take that to your own classroom and your program?
I search out kids who don't speak up for themselves. I look for kids that seem a little different or odd, or loud. I find what I would call the misfit kids. And I'm like, hey, you're gonna do theater. And I'm a 6'4" black guy who's 200 plus up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so no one's
we have one similarity, but yeah, continue.
no one, no one's gonna really tell me no. And so they learn, like, why did you ask me to do this? I'm like, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so there have been so many kids who have come through my program that it's definitely changed them, because it made them understand that not only did someone see them, but they recognize that they're important. And all I need for them is to know that they're important. If that's all I teach them, is
Right.
for them to know that they're important.
Right.
Even if it's to themselves, then I've done my job as a theater director.
Yeah, that's good. Do you well, first of all, how long have you been tall? Like, how long have you known you're kind of physically different than others?
Okay, so surprisingly, I probably didn't realize how tall I was up until I want to say sophomore year, because at some point you just tall.
Yeah.
But my grandmother raised me to look into people's eyes. So when I talk to you, I don't look at their forehead. I look in your eyes.
Yeah.
I don't see you as a height difference.
Right.
I really try to see people at eye level, and that sounds so stupid.
No, I get it.
But if you're a tall person, you understand, because you go, I don't realize how tall I am until I go shopping, or until you take a picture and everybody else, my whole head is cropped out, because here's where your eyes are.
Yeah.
At the chest, and they're like, oh, all right, well,
Yeah.
let me have to squat down. So yeah.
That's kind of, yeah. I don't know that struggle too well, but I want to say it was you. I think it was you a couple of years ago that said, and the reason I bring this up is because you are this person, but I want to say it was you, or we were sitting at a meal. I don't remember where. It could have been State, but talking about how you don't want boys on stage, you want men. Tired of having boys on stage, you want men. And so do you think that and I keep going back to your height, but I look at a tall kid, I see a tall kid walking in the hallways at my school, and I'm like, I got to figure out if that kid can do anything performance wise, because that's a man like that. I need, I'm tired. I had a boy play our prince in Little Mermaid, and it was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, because nobody bought it, right? No, nobody believed it. Great voice, good actor, but he looked like Pinocchio, and so I think that's always stuck with me, that I'm tired of having boys like that. I can just go and they just fall over,
Right.
and you need men. Do you think that? And again, and I'll go back to me for just a half a second. I think I was cast in my senior year musical because I was the only man that could grow facial hair. And I'm convinced that the director was like, because there were two of us up for the job, or up for the part, and I could grow facial hair. This other person, I don't think still can grow facial hair, but but I'm convinced that's why. And so, do you think that? I mean, that you were kind of maybe a little bit of extra sought out just because of something that you have absolutely no control over?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay, good.
The height. Oh, child! When I tell you, we did Romeo and Juliet, and I played Friar Lawrence, and I was the gayest Friar Lawrence you've ever seen. And so I don't want to say that it's because of my height, because the flamboyancy kind of kills the manpower of that. Because I I don't want to call myself a queen, but I enjoy, pimming out and queening up every once in a while. But that's fine. neither nor there. But I think it's more than my personality. I'm not afraid to say what I say, and
Yeah.
I mean what I say. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, you know. But I think part of it is that I'm confident in where I'm coming from.
Right.
And so when I talk about bringing men on stage, the height thing does help, but it's more about, do you own the room? Do you own where you walk into? You know, I tell my girls, if I picked you to put you on stage, you're not weak.
Right.
I don't pick little girls to come on stage and play those roles because that's not how the world works anymore. And so if you're gonna be on stage, you're gonna be badass. Like I don't. So I think it's more about building the confidence of a student. I mean, it can start with the physical attributes, but I think if you stay there, you're doing yourself harm.
Right. So I'm gonna get off the height thing. I know you have a son, correct?
I do.
Do you have any more kids or no?
No.
Okay, so are you? What do you want your like? What my daughters are screwed because both my wife and I are theater teachers. So like that's all they see. They're just surrounded by this. And I don't know what your husband does. You can say it or not, but if he's in the Secret Service, don't say it. But I don't know. But are you gonna, theater people always say, I want my kid to grow up to be whatever they want to be, but maybe hopefully they be a performer a little bit because it'd be kind of fun. Is there something that you see your son kind of grooming to be or growing up to be? Are there already hints of like, oh no, here's our little Glenn Jr. So
well, to begin, he's adopted.
Right.
He was adopted.
But you're an influence. I mean, like,
Right.
He doesn't have your genes, but he definitely sees dad. So
I actually think he's going to be he's not going to be a performer.
Yeah.
Because he's so meek. Like he doesn't like the spotlight on him. He's a kid that if we went to a performance like, hey, Mikhail, he's like hiding behind other kids, like don't look at me.
Yeah.
He wants to help animals, so it wouldn't surprise me if he becomes veterinarian or marine biologist or that's like he likes to help things survive, and like he can point out type of birds and type of trees and type of like he's that type of kid.
Right. Do you have pets?
What? We have 2 dogs.
Okay.
Everything in my house is a male.
Okay.
I'm the only queen here, and that's fine. So
that's I've got one male dog, and then the rest I'm just surrounded. But even today, even this morning, my daughter said, "Daddy, you're going to be surrounded by women the rest of your life." And I was like, if that's how it has to be, that's how it has to be. So,
see, I have other people who come to me and say, "You should have a daughter," and I just get really what's that word? Defensive about that.
Sure.
I don't trust boys.
Yeah.
I've seen boys in high school. I'm like, oh God, I would do you harm if you came to my daughter like that. So, and then I'm a gay man. I don't know how the periods work. I don't want to try to figure that out.
I think that's true with straight and gay men, because I too do not know how that works. I mean, I know how it works, but I don't know how to help.
I don't understand that. So, I forgot where we were going with this question.
I was asking about how you think your son is growing up, and you kind of answered it, a veterinarian.
His dad, or my husband, his dad, whatever, does social work type things.
Okay.
And so I think the one thing he learns is patience. And so whatever he does, he's going to be a patient person because he likes to, play around with other kids, and he always plays with the kid who like no one else plays with, or the kid that's like seems too young to be played with. Like the age gap is real big, and so he kind of seeks that person out.
Right.
And so I hope, if nothing else, that type of social interaction keeps with him, because he people are just attracted to him, and that's a great thing. So
Yeah. Is he the kind of kid that, like, if you're driving along on the road and there's a turtle crossing very slowly, does he say,
yes,
"Dad, stop," and then goes and
yes,
helps the turtle?
yes. Like he, one time my husband was leaving the house and he saw this red thing in the grass, and he thought it was a dead cardinal. We have a couple of cats around here that
Right,
kill birds,
right.
and he started getting really upset. So
Yeah,
he had Jeff pull over and see what it was, and it was just like a red, like piece of trash or whatever
right,
else. But it bothered him
right.
that he thought it was a red cardinal.
I mean, that's commendable. Yeah, that's good. That's good on you. And you said your husband is a social worker. My sister's a social worker, so I know the struggle that you go through because they're always trying to unnecessarily help, in my opinion. You know, my sister's always giving me her advice even when it's unwarranted,
Yes,
and it's kind of that lifestyle, I guess. You know.
and I literally like when me and my husband were first dating. Because I like to argue with people. I don't know why. I
Yeah,
lose every time, but that's fine. Um, but I used to say, stop trying to counsel me.
yeah.
I mean what I say, and he would just look at me like, "But you're wrong." So that's the problem.
Mansplaining, mansplaining. Yeah, that's funny.
So
How did you guys meet?
we met through some
Okay.
friends, and we actually um, probably like our first date was on September 21st,
Okay.
2010. And we've been together ever since. And I remember telling him 3 months in, I said, I'm gonna marry you.
Yeah.
And he looked at me like I was crazy. I mean, I did move a little fast, but that's fine. But I knew once I met him that he was the one.
Right.
So
That's good. That's good. Well, I appreciate you talking about your family, being candid by that. Now I'm gonna switch subjects again. So
okay.
one of the things that I guess over the past couple months you and I have gotten, or at least have shared time together. I don't know if we've gotten to know each other so well, but we've shared time in two committees, I guess you could say. One with TXETA, and
Hmm.
one I think, no offense to TXETA, but one with thespians that is a little maybe more verbal, I guess you could say. And it's all about advocacy and fighting for what should have been, finished years and years ago with having equality and LGBTQ, BIPOC, every acronym you can think of, but all of these equitable things that should have been taken care of a long time ago, and maybe not going to get political, but have fallen off over the past few years. Let's just say that.
Right.
So, do you? And I asked this of Michelle Wynn as well, being that she's an Asian American. Do you think that in a weird way, and work with me on this one, do you,
Okay.
do you think in a weird way that now uh, colored, uh, gay, uh, transgender, every type of minority that you can think of, non-white male, do you
Hmm.
think it has become now in theater, in theater, easier for those recognitions to take place, and that it is slowly but surely becoming more normal, if you will, for seeing, because, for instance, the Academy Awards just recently announced we will no longer recognize movies that don't have at least one black actor as an eligible movie, or and with Hamilton years ago putting out an audition saying we don't want any white men or white women to audition for the show. Do you think now that it's becoming more commonplace to have this accepting sort of mentality in theater and even in film, or is it just still the struggle? Or and I know there's still a struggle, but it's not.
Right.
Is it as intense as it was maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago?
I don't think it's as intense, but I still think there's a huge problem.
Right.
And I think until we can stop seeing people as categorized objects, then the problem is going to consist. Now, do I say that we need to get rid of the category? No, because every category has its own box to check, and every category has its own way that you live your life that's honest, that somebody else doesn't, know about. But I think the fact that we have to, have these standards, like I think it's saddening that a film won't be considered without having one Black person in it, because that says that now that you're going to have, because to me that just brings up, okay, now we have to have the token Black guy.
Right.
Now we have to have like the token gay guy, or whatever. So we have to fill those boxes. When in reality, if you just told the story of average Americans or average people, you would have that. I don't know anybody that knows people that are just like them 24/7 all day long throughout their life.
Right.
And I think that in the arts, we try to be so diverse, but in reality, we pigeonhole ourselves to try to accommodate people. And if you just do the damn work, you'll be able to do a lot more.
Right. Yeah, I like that. That's succinct and easy. But it's so difficult for some people.
Yeah, it is.
It's some people just find, and I'm not going to name names, obviously, but there are people I work with that directors, high school directors, influential high school directors, that find it difficult to accept that they are the problem and that they are not contributing to the solution, because they do what you just said and add in the token, whatever it is. It could maybe not Black person, but
Right.
but yeah, I like what you said about the Academy Awards, and it's kind of like, I don't know how familiar you are with what's called the Rooney Rule, which is in football, and it requires, I want to say it's like a 15-year-old rule now, that every team, whenever they have an opening for a head coach, they have to interview at least one minority candidate. And it's turned into a joke, because now they just, the first candidate they interview is a minority, not necessarily Black, but just a minority of some sort. And then it's well known, they just move on. And exactly. They do it to kind of, to as you said, check the box. And it's become very frustrating, but also there are less quiet people now. It's become, it's a lot louder now.
Right.
And it's something that personally I can appreciate. But I'm glad you said that. We can get off the sensitive topic now. Now I want, we're just moving along. It's like a roller coaster of questions.
That's cool.
You said earlier, and I don't want you to give anything that's going to incriminate or embarrass, but I really want to hear some sort of story about soon to be Dr. Philip Taylor. And it can include, and it doesn't have to be bad. I don't need anybody to be embarrassed, but I would, like, if he like tripped and fell during Romeo and Juliet, like that's a fun, it's embarrassing, but goofy. And I know that's a goofy example, but even with Destiny, I would love to just rib Destiny as well, because, I think, speaking aloud, so if you have just even of like a chicken cross the road kind of joke where it's just kind of fun, but kind of dumb in the same way, I would love to hear a story about either or both Destiny and Philip, because I think they need to be brought back down to earth a little bit.
Hey, so here's the thing. With both of them.
Yeah.
They are great people,
Yes.
and they work really, really, really hard for what
Yes.
they do. Philip, I will tell you, is a person that remembers every single thing.
Yes.
So I'm reluctant to tell you anything.
It's
'cause it'll
annoying.
come back to bite me in the
Yeah,
ass.
it's annoying.
But I would tell you that there's something he has never forgiven me for.
Yeah.
And when I got married, I was very adamant about what I wanted people to wear at my wedding, and it was royal blue and white and black. Yeah, and it was, everyone knew, and he was supposed to be like, he's my best friend, and except I never told him. And so he walked up to the wedding in burnt orange.
Of course.
And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, what are you talking about? I was like, you're supposed to be in blue and white. He's like, you didn't tell me that. I'm like, yes, I did. He's like, no, you never did. And so everyone showed up, including Carla. And Carla just showed up to the wedding in blue by coincidence, but everybody else is in blue and white. And here's this speck of orange in all that. And so he's never let me live that down. He said, if I ever get married or when I ever get married, I'm not telling you what color you need to wear because I need you to be different.
Yep.
So that's something. And he just, but he's like, another thing. I could not stand Philip Taylor as a high school student.
Right.
Because we were compared to each other. Let me phrase that. I was compared to him.
Right.
And so everything we did, like Philip did something similar to that, and it would just piss me off.
Yeah. It's like it's the sibling thing. It's like having a sibling that you're always compared to.
And he just, and really didn't affect him because he was the person he was the example. But we probably didn't even become true friends or really understood each other until I was a junior in college. Because he went at UT, I went to Texas State, and so we would hang out all the time. And he became a brother to me. So Destiny, I'm not.
No,
you will not get no. She's not gonna read me.
She'll come for you. She will come for you. Oh, I understand that. I hang out with Destiny quite often, and if she's on, she's there's nobody getting in her way.
No. And she has too much dirt on me. No, we're not gonna do that.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. That is a story within itself. That's perfectly fine. So I want to go back to the Texas State thing then. Now, do you, because I have my opinions about UH, and because I was a graduate with the bachelor's program at UH, and I thought I was convinced that it was one of the best bachelor's programs in the country. Now I'm not. I don't agree. I don't think it is. I think it's a great master's. I think it's flipped, right? How do you feel now? Has Texas State become, because Texas State, at least in the state of Texas, has become one of the better musical theater programs? And was it that way when you were there, or was it transitioning, was the wave starting to move, or what?
It started while I was there.
Okay.
Here's the thing about Texas State. I love Texas State, and I learned a lot. I think it's antiquated, much like I'm sure we all feel about certain theater departments or fine art departments. But I think it's antiquated because it's playing catch up with itself. The student body is growing so quickly, and the people who actually teach there are not.
Right.
And so, the fact that the first African-American play was performed on the main stage was in 2008 or 2009 with the piano lesson, and you had been open since 1899. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that you had to have not only guest artists, but also professors in the play, because you didn't have enough Black people to audition for it. So now, has that probably grown some since then? I'm sure. Yeah. But I think, it's still antiquated. There's still things that need to change. They still think they need to learn. Do I think it's a great school? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do I think that this is what I pray for? I pray that during this time of COVID, we can really sit down with ourselves and go, look, are we really doing the best we can to provide the best experience for all the students, not only the ones that are in our
Right.
program, but the ones that coming to see our program?
Right.
Are we really representing them the best way we can? If we're not, then we need to change our focus and change the way we deliver things. But I hope that I feel that they are open to the idea of moving in that direction.
Sure. Have you considered teaching college?
I would only teach college if I could become a TAL.
Okay.
So I could go into these schools and these kids that feel left behind or don't know what to do with their life,
Right.
bring them in, mold them, and send them where they need to go,
Right.
whether it's theater or not. That's what I would want to do.
Right. So eventually you will.
I would hope so, but I need to learn a lot before I get
Yeah,
there.
yeah. We're still young. As you said, you're only 2 weeks older than Philip, right? So that puts you at what, 25, right?
Oh, child, no black don't crack. Yes. No.
Well, that's, Philip, again, he's a secretive guy. Never openly says his age, although I know it because I'm friends with Destiny, but
Yes.
yeah, he's not that secretive. All right, I got to ask you some fun questions then. Very typical dating game type questions. And not that we're dating or trying to date, but
I mean, you're my type a little bit. You white
okay,
guys.
that's fine. That's fine. We can roll. Little Zoom dating. What if there's not a lot known about Gatesville? So as a child, growing up, what was the thing you did in Gatesville that you now kind of miss a little bit? And I know you're not super duper far from there.
Yeah.
But what is there something that you miss from kind of that small town Gatesville community?
Well, before I answer that, I'm not actually from Gatesville.
Oh.
I moved there my sophomore year.
Got you.
So I'm actually from a small town called Hawkins,
Okay.
in East Texas,
Okay.
which is by Tyler. But neither here nor there. I would say
From either one then.
the thing I miss the most is probably the like the hometown like activities, like
Right.
in Hawkins, having the pancake festival and having the big parade and like going to get pancakes early in the morning, or the big lighting of the town park in Gatesville, like Christmas time,
Right.
and all that type of thing, because those small town parades, the small town things are just different when you're in the city.
Right.
And Gatesville and Waco isn't huge. Like, it's not a city, but it's big enough to where not everybody knows each other.
Right.
So there's a disconnect.
Right.
So I would say that's the part I miss most, that I wish my son would get.
Right. Pancake festival.
Yeah, that's so the first actress who played Aunt Jemima was from Hawkins, Texas.
Interesting.
They were the pancake capital of Texas.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that. What's your go-to pancake?
Aunt Jemima? What?
No, not the syrup. I mean, like,
that's the mix.
I see the mix. But do you, I've insulted you. Do you put anything in it? Like, is it just original straight up?
Oh no, you need just buttermilk, child. If you add stuff to it, that's not pancake. That's something else.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. I agree with you. I'm with you on that one. Cause you go to like IHOP and they're like, have a banana strawberry pancake. And it's like, no, it's turning into cake. Like, not
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you? Yeah. No.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad we agree.
Oh wait, now I have a question for you, since we're asking questions.
Okay.
Okay. So have you ever eaten grits?
I've had grits.
What do you put in your grits?
I've never made grits, but what I understand what you're saying. Like, you get grits and then you add your flavor to it. Yeah.
Right.
What I put in mine, partially because I was coached, was butter. And I put a little bit of cheese, and
Okay.
I think that might have been it, actually. I might
Okay.
have put salt on it, but I don't remember if I
What
salted
the
it.
hell is wrong with you? Like, I don't. It's supposed to be butter and sugar. Like
Butter and
that.
sugar.
Yes.
See, I can tell you right now, I definitely did not do that.
See.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm.
That's
Like, where are you from? So
I'm
we're asking all these
see.
questions.
Okay, so Glenn, I'm from Houston. I was born.
You're not real. Okay, so you're not from the country.
Wait,
Never
hold
mind.
on, hold on. I was born and raised in Houston, and I've sort of loosely told this story on my podcast before, but I was raised by a country black woman named Esther.
Okay.
And her, like, when I tell you the entire family lived at the house, they did, but they also had their own addresses. Like that, like they were always there. And if
Right.
they fell asleep there, they fell asleep. You know, like they
Right.
always had a bed.
Right.
And Esther still living. I hope 2020 ends soon, God forbid. But she's in her 90s, but she is still she's a great grandmother. You know, she's an amazing woman, and that's where I had grits. Now it could have easily been Esther protecting my taste buds by saying, put butter and cheese in it because I know this child likes cheese. So
That's fair.
it could have easily been that. I don't know. I could go back and ask her. I mean, her memory it's everything is in there. She's still very very
I
with
mean,
it.
that's a country favorite. I'm just not again. I prefer the sweet. So
That's
the
fine.
whole savory, I don't understand why would you put cheese and grits, but that's fine.
Well, I'm a sweet tooth person as well, but I wonder if maybe like she was just again trying to be like, I just don't want this kid to get cavities. I know how his parents are both, you know, there's a salesman and a teacher, like they don't have the money to go drill into this kid's mouth, so it could have easily been that. But yeah, no, I'm not a country folk. I also don't like I'm not an outdoors guy. I don't know if you are, but
I'm not.
yeah,
I'm
so
not. I
that's
don't do outside. My son does outside, and he gets mad. Come play with me.
Yeah.
It's hot.
yeah, right,
It's
right.
hot.
We can
I'm
play
extra dark. I'm not. No, I'm attracting sunlight. I'm not doing this.
right. Yeah, bugs annoy me. You know, I'm not like necessarily afraid of bugs, but I do have a little bit of an irrational fear of like flying insects. So you know,
You know how big you are. You can't.
I'm
afraid of
aware.
snakes, but you don't know where they come from.
Right,
So, but
right.
you're afraid of flying bugs.
I don't worry about it. This isn't about me. It's about you. This, yeah. I have a little weird. I don't know why. I've never been stung. You know, I could be Macaulay Culkin and My Girl for all I know, but I don't. You know, I've never been stung before. So how's that for a reference? But yeah. It's anyway. Back to you. Have you ever been have you ever been camping?
Yes, I have.
See, I've never been. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This isn't a video pod, so seeing your face do that right now, the reaction, nobody's going to see that. But anyway,
They understand the tone.
yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, they can hear the subtext in your facial expressions. Well, anyway, Glenn, I appreciate this. You said 45 minutes. It's been 48. So
You can finish your question. You can finish your question.
let's keep going. Then I mean, I don't have anywhere to be for a little bit. I think my kids are okay. What does your son do to pass the time? Please don't tell me he's on the iPad all the time. Is he on the iPad all the time?
No. So
'cause
my
my
husband
kids are.
is very he is very protective of
Okay.
Miguel and time. So he gets an hour of TV time or electronics. So there's an hour of TV time or game time or whatever. But he plays outside. We do
Right.
Legos. We do board games.
Were you raised with a TV? Did you have a?
Yeah. Like
See-
Nickelodeon was it. Like Ren and Stimpy and all that. And Are You
Yeah.
Afraid of the Dark? And all those shows. Yeah.
Is it
And-
any different now? Is it only because things are just you don't know who's on the other side? Is that one of the bigger problems?
I think part of it is the disconnection.
Right.
And we really want to have like the family experience. So like every single
Sure.
night, we eat dinner at the table. No TV, and we talk.
That's good.
We play Phase 10 all the time or
Yeah.
Uno. Um, and then like the one thing me and my son like to do is like build Lego sets
Right.
together. And it's just, you know, the one thing I will say that as a adoptive dad is that you learn time is not on your side. So we got him when he was 5.
Right.
And so there was already 5 years that we didn't have him.
Right.
And he's 10 now. And so I would have rehearsals every day. And when we got him, there was literally a moment where he started reading way better than I remember.
Right.
And I remember looking at my husband and going, I'm missing out
Right.
on my son growing up.
Yep.
And so we just make, you know, now other times that we just let him watch TV, like Sunday, he watched TV all day,
Right.
and that was fine.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we really trying to rein that in because we, you know, we want to notice those things.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
What type of Lego, like, because I, you know, Legos are low key expensive. And so
They are.
I really, as a kid, I was a Lincoln Log Lego kind of kid as well.
Mhm.
And I've been, my oldest daughter will play with Legos and build things, but they're just those sets, you know, I go to Toys R Us or Target, not Toys R Us, RIP, but Target, Walmart and things like that. And look at those Lego sets and I'm like, those are so fun to build. And then I look at that price tag. I'm like, they're not that fun, but you know, which ones do you build? Do you do the like themed ones, the Harry Potter, the Jurassic Park?
We have done a couple of those.
Yeah.
Ninjago is like his thing to do,
Yeah.
but we like he's also into those damn spinning things. What they call
The fidget spinners?
no
Oh.
Beyblades.
Okay,
There we
okay.
go. They're like the futuristic tops. So he will make Beyblades out of Legos, and he finds a way to spin them and make them crash. And so we'll do that, or we will make a house out of what he already owns. And so it's we just like to play.
That's fun. What? And you said you play Phase 10. Do you play Yahtzee?
We don't play Yahtzee.
Ooh,
No,
you gotta
don't
get
play
you gotta get a Yahtzee set. If you're into not a
No.
dice, not a
No.
shake the dice kind of guy.
No, we don't. No.
Did you have a bad experience with Yahtzee, Glenn?
I have gotten a Yahtzee 6 years in my lifetime for Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
And I never had someone play with me, and so I despise that game. I've never played that game. I've owned it 6 times in my life.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
Have you ever been to Vegas?
I have been to Vegas.
Did you play?
Pants.
Yeah. Did you? You lost your pants.
I lost my pants and my dignity.
As we record this, it's 10:55, but in the morning. But you would think that we're both drunk right now. The way that I just responded to that. So you lost your pants. Okay, so continue.
Oh, I know, I just lost a lot. So I'm sure this is how gambling addiction starts. So my husband's really good with money.
Yeah.
He's like, here's $100.
Right.
And so my husband will find like the nickel and dime and penny and like play. He'll play on that for hours. I'm gonna spend $50 at the high roller.
Yeah, 100 on black right there.
Boom, gone. Damn. Hey, I love you.
Got it.
You're not getting no money today. Okay, well, all right. So I'm gonna walk around for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because I didn't put all of it one time. So
Yeah.
That's me.
Find a temporary sugar daddy. That's what, like you just, yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. I've done Vegas, for real once, and I got addicted to craps. And the reason I brought it up is because of the comparison of craps to Yahtzee, just literally by throwing dice. But that's the only comparison, because other than that, they're completely different. But that's how my brain works. So good. I'm glad you're not addicted to gambling though, because as a teacher, it's very difficult to be addicted to something that you can't afford. So,
I mean, I can tell you on this phone, I have played Phase 10 and Toon Blast and everything else. I've spent a good $200 or $300 on buying coins for the next level. So I was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
Don't judge me, Jeff.
Is it, but see, like the way my go around is, because I have also done a little bit, not that much, but I've done a little bit of guilty pleasure spending but it shows up as an iTunes,
Yes,
on your
correct.
account. It shows up as iTunes. So I just tell my, oh yeah, no, it's a song. I'm still purchasing Straight No Chaser music just to support the guys. They're my friends, like that kind of thing. And a little fib every once in a while, so you can play some more Candy Crush. Never hurt anybody.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes, yes.
okay. Well, I want to end on a. We've had some fun now. So I want to end with a word. I want you to switch and go to word of advice. So I like to always end on either word of advice or some sort of fun quip, and we've had some fun quips already. So what I want to hear from you is you've been teaching now long enough to know how a student is wired and how students have they go about their daily business and how things have now all of a sudden been spun around on their head. So if a kid comes up to you, and this is a very general question, and you may take time to think about it, but if a kid comes up to you now, between now and like, let's say March, and says, Mr. Price, I was assuming they call you Mr. Price. I don't, yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Are we going to be okay? What are you going to say to that student? And I will, I'm not going to.
First of all, that's a weird question. Like, are we gonna be okay? Like, and so my sarcasticness, and this is where it gets me in trouble. Are you breathing?
Sure. Okay.
And they're like, yeah, then you're fine. You're okay.
Yeah.
We good. You be gonna be good. Yeah. That's how. I'm sorry. That's how I want to do that. Like, are you breathing? Yes, Yes, you're breathing.
That's
You're
good.
fine. So, and I'm such a smart ass, and my kids are like, did I ask something stupid? No, you didn't ask something stupid, and you just didn't think about what you asked. So I would then go back and say, what do you mean by are we gonna be okay? And it's I guess really I would say as long as you have your mind and your heart, you will always be fine. Those are two good things that as long as you take care of those, you'll be fine.
Minor wisdom.